there are no blessings in a pandemic. We know that. But if there was a silver lining in this cloud of disease, it would be, in my opinion, the fact that many Black parents, for the first time, were forced to take control over their children's education. And in being forced to take control over their children's education, I believe many of them, and I've heard from a lot of them, they are now empowered to continue homeschooling their children. So, although
Alright, Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Bahasham, Rakak, Wadash. Yahweh be known, the Heavenly Father, the Creator of heaven and earth, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, the God which the Scriptures speak of. And Yahweh Shai is only begotten Son, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and the Rakak, Wadash, which is the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, pushing this 100% truth of the gospel, helping to wake up and to seal the elect of the nation of Israel. And salutation to all the sincere Archimedes that are pushing this gospel with righteousness and sincerity, risking your lives and freedom to do so. Alright, so what I'm going to go into is this video, right? I'm just going to do a quick response to this video. It's concerning Dr. Umar Johnson. Most of you brothers up in Babylon should know this guy. He's one of those black conscious types. So basically, he put out a video. He made a video on this channel Fox Soul, where basically he went into how because of this pandemic and because children Jakes. He was only talking about Jakes, specifically Southern Kingdom, because they aren't going to schools anymore. They aren't going to these source schools anymore. And now they are being homeschooled. They are reaping the benefits of. They're actually learning things. I should say it like that. They're actually learning. They're actually understanding and learning the things that they were supposed to learn in these schools. Because what you have to realize and what you will learn once you come into this truth, and this is something that has been well documented, is that American schools, the schools in Babylon the Great, the schools in the US, I'm talking about mostly these grade schools and high schools. I'm not too sure about the colleges, but I believe that the colleges are included as well. They do not, they do not, the standard of education there, is very not just only very low, but the fact is that they group most of our people, most of the Southern Kingdom, they group them into this category called what they call it again, learning disability. Basically, they say that they have learning disabilities, and then they teach them, and then they don't even teach them. They just push them through the grades and then give them the high school diploma when they haven't learned anything. That's why you see Jakes in Babylon with high school degrees, high school diplomas, and they can't even read. They can't even read properly. They have trouble reading, because this is what these Edomites do. They will push Jakes through the school system, and basically through their school system. And basically, when Jake doesn't learn anything, and then Jake doesn't learn anything, when he sees that he doesn't learn anything, he drops out. He goes into the streets. He starts doing wickedness. Esau will say that, see. Esau will start pointing the finger and saying, see these niggas. These niggas, like they would say, they're not intelligent. They're not smart. Start bringing out his race-based IQ. They start bringing out how inner city schools, that is populated by Jakes. They start bringing out how they do so poorly in tests and exams, even though, and this Dr. Umar Justin, he said it here in his individual as well. That Africans, the African Jakes, the Jakes that come from the land of Ham, which is so-called Africa. West African Jakes and like when they go to Babylon, they excel way past the so-called white Edomite students, way past the Moabite students, way past even those Amalekite students, those Jews that's if you look at Esau's IQ chart, they are at the highest. Because by these Edomites' own admission, immigrants from West Africa, they only mention Nigeria, but it's actually the whole of West Africa. Immigrants from West Africa, which is where a majority of Jakes, where a majority of Israelites here in Africa are scattered. Immigrants from West Africa are among the smartest, the most intelligent, I should say, and the intelligent and the best immigrants. They are model immigrants, so to say. they all come from the west coast of Africa. They're all jigs. They're all coming from here because even though the educational facilities here aren't that great, even though we are, even though we don't have much in the way of learning facilities, the schools here, we still they still teach our people something because those schools are run by our people. And for the most part, the educational curriculum, even though we know that the educational curriculum is run by ISO, and that is another proof to show that Esau is that these so-called white people, these so-called devils are the Edomites, and they're the ones ruling in these last days, because the whole world is following that educational curriculum. What is it? 16 years in school. You spend 16 years in school. 6 years in grade school. 6 years in secondary school, or I don't know how they do it up in Babylon. But basically, here in most parts of the world, you spend 6 years. You spend like 12 years in grade and high school, and then you go into the university and you do what a standard of 4 years, only just to come out and realize that you didn't learn anything. You don't know anything about the world, because everything I know, I learned it from this truth. This truth is what turned me, from a boy to a man. This truth is what gave me all the knowledge that is what basically gave me all the knowledge that I have, for the most part, because when you are in the when you're in the world, when you're in these schools, each one is teaching you what is left hand knowledge. All those is witchcrafts, those is false and fake sciences that don't really amount to anything. And since I just mentioned that, let me just quickly jump into the precepts. Yes, I have to get those. I have to go and open up my scriptures. Let me just quickly jump into the precepts and start bringing it out. So let me first go to the book of Isaiah. Yeah, the book of Isaiah, chapter 29. Because what I was talking about is that Esau, uses what it teaches you is left hand wickedness. What it teaches you, is his wickedness, that is fake science, that doesn't go. What should I say? That does not, go hand in hand with the teachings of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, the teachings of the Most High. So let me get this precepts first before I continue what I'm saying. Isaiah chapter 29 verse 16, and it reads, "Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding?" And this is basically what Esau is trying to do with his science. His false science, because Esau is not, he's not studying the true science. He's created his own, knowledge, his own left-hand knowledge, and he teaches it in these schools, and he forces the whole world. He has made the whole world to adopt this science, to teach it, to teach it to their children as well. All the nations to teach it to their children as well. Which is why the scripture says that what Babylon the Great has made all the nations drunk with the wine of her fornication, and because of that, what all the nations are mad. Because this truth has been coming out for a while, and these nations are now finally realizing that this devil lied to them. So guess what? They are pissed, as you normally would be when you realize that what somebody lied to you. I have to type that again. All the nations are mad. That's the exact piece that I want to get. I can't find it. Babylon has been I think Babylon has been a golden. No. Let me just type wine of our fornication. Let me just get this one. I can't find that piece where it says that all the nations are mad. So here it is. Here it is, the book of Revelation chapter 18, and I'll start from verse 2. "And they cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and it has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of our fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of our delicacies." So the only thing that proves, so the things that prove that America is Babylon the Great is not just the fact that this is the number one, importer of goods. This is the number one buyer of products in the world. I don't know how to put that properly, so you have to bear with me. but also the fact that all the nations are following its philosophies, following its doctrines. The nations are following all its systems and all its institutions. Democracy that was made, it started in Rome, but it was popularized by what these Edomites. Now all the nations, instead of having their kings rule over them, guess what? They now make presidents and prime ministers and the like. A good example would be what the Moabites and the Ammonites. They had emperors ruling over them. They had famous dynasties that nobody shut the fuck up about. But now what do they have? Presidents, Xi Jinping and whatever, and the prime minister in Japan. The different philosophies that they bring out, insurances, banks, and this, of course, this what we're talking about right now. This educational system that Israel has developed that basically that it is basically set up against Jake, against the Israelites, because Esau knows that if he gives you Israelites a fair shake, if he gives all the nations a fair shake, you know what will happen to him. Let me go. Let's I have to get that precept first, because this is a precept that perfectly explains what I'm about to say. So this is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, and I start from verse 7. Pride is hateful before power and man, and by both does one commit iniquity. And this is because I say this because of the pride of these Edomites. Even though they see that kingdom coming down, they still have they still have they still have that pride. They still don't want to accept and admit that their kingdom is falling. They want to pretend as if everything is going to be okay, that they can rebuild. The scripture says in Malachi chapter 1, where he said that words. What does it say again? So I have to go to that because I can't remember how it goes. I'm getting a little excited, so I'm talking a little faster than I should. You have to bear with me. Here it is, Malachi chapter 1 and verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh hath indignation forever. And this time is coming when all the nations of the earth will see that the Most High really does not like these Edomites. So they will realize that these people are the actual devil. Because people are starting to realize it right now, and it's really getting to Esau. It's really starting to bug out because of the way that these nations be looking at him. Especially these low-level Edomites, their whole white nationalism. It's okay to be white memes and all that stuff. That's the Most High putting that's the Most High basically bringing all those curses back full circle back on them. I know Barakata Yahweh Bahashmi Yawashai, because that's just more proof that what our salvation draweth near. So let's get back to what I wanted to get. So Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So basically what Esau does is that he uses deceit, he uses his left hand magic, uses his left hand tricks to make everybody believe that he is it, that he is what everybody should aspire to be. You should want to be white, you should want to be an Edomite, you don't be so-called white, you should want to be pure with blonde hair and blue eyes. You'll be the less black on your skin, the more beautiful you are. The less black on your body, the more beautiful you should be. The lighter skin you are, the more beautiful you should be. That you should aspire to be just like me, an Edomite. The smartest, greatest, the type of specimen of human on this earth, which is not how it should be. He uses deceit, he tricks these people, hides the history to make it look as if he is it, that he was the original people, that Adam looked like him, Moses looked like him, the Most High looked like him, Yahushua looked like him. But once these things, but now the truth, which has as the scripture said, the truth that has gone so long without fruit, is finally being established, and it's being established by none other than the true, what's the true what's the word I'm looking for? The true rulers of this earth, the true great people, the true white people or the true white people. It's like a true white people of this earth, the Israelites, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and of course starting from the Southern Kingdom, the Negroes. Bringing out this truth, showing that we, that is not these Edomites, that it is not Esau, but us that are, that are it, that are the people that you should be aspire to be, putting ourselves back in order. And these nations, just the time is coming when what that they will fear and respect, even the lowest Israelites. And that will come even before the kingdom, when they realize that we are the children of the Most High Power, Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh, and when they realize that we and only we are loved by Him. That's when they realize that's when they realize how badly they fucked up, and that's when Esau's sins will pile upon his head, and nations will be even more pissed because of what the unrighteous dealings, the injuries, and the riches got by deceit. Because this educational system is just one of the ways that Esau has deceived the world into believing that he is it. By using this fake education, creating fake history, creating fake knowledge, fake false science. That's why the scripture said that's why the scripture said in the book of Timothy, oppositions of science falsely so called. And let me go to that. I wanted to talk about the educational system, but we went into science a little bit here, but that's just it, because science, like the Apostle Gabriel has already said this before, it goes back to the Latin word scienta, and that means to know. It means knowledge. So all knowledge is science, So these devils, they always come out and be telling you that, something is science and something is science, using words to deceive, using that gift that the Most High gave them, which is that silver serpent tongue, that forked tongue. How they can speak, they can speak the truth and add their little light into it and just confuse all the people that I just confuse all the people that are listening. And if you don't have that spirit of Yahweh, that descending spirit to understand what they are saying, you get tricked up and deceived. That's why the scripture says that what in the book of Matthew chapter 24, I believe that if it were even possible, if it were possible to deceive the elect, Esau would have done it. But to deceive the elect is impossible. Alright, so this is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6. And I'll start from verse 20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust. Avoid profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called. Let's see what you learn in these school systems. The science that is falsely so called, and you won't realize it at the time because that's all you know. But when you get into this truth, you now realize that what you learned in these schools, what you learned in this source system is nonsense. It doesn't amount to anything. That's why the scripture says what. And I wanted to use this precept for another video, but I also have to bring it out because that this precept is basically Esau all the way. So this is the book of Job chapter 13 verse 4. But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. And that's all. That's all. That precept right there is self-explanatory, because how the nations, how people used to do it before. Everybody homeschooled their child. There wasn't barring for some special circumstances, there wasn't anything like a community school or anything like that. The woman was supposed to stay at home and, as the scripture says, guide the house. And part of guiding the house is teaching the children about the things which the husband taught you. Because that's how it goes. The husband teaches the woman, and the woman teaches the children. And that is why the scripture says, what, Salakia, I'll start it all over again. It goes like this: the Most High, taught Yahweh through the Spirit. Yahweh is one that teaches us men, men of the Lord, men of Yahweh, Yahweh. And I am speaking concerning of Israelites, not these other nations, because Yahweh is not teaching these other nations anything. Except how to be slaves, maybe. But anyway, let's just continue on. And we teach the woman, and the woman teaches the children. That's why the scripture says that as far the women to keep silent in the churches. But if you have any questions, you may ask your husband at home, and he will tell you. When you learn from your husband, you pass the knowledge on to your children. That's how it's supposed to be. All children are supposed to be homeschooled. There shouldn't be this whole community thing of all children going to one school, going to one place, being taught by a complete stranger, and you as a parent, having no idea what your children are even learning. Because Lord knows my parents, I should say, Yahweh knows my parents didn't even know what I was doing when I was in school. They didn't even know what I was learning when I was in school. And that's the same thing right now. Esau, and another one of his deceits, another one of his wickedness, he not only let's just keep aside the fact that he propped up the woman to an extent where she's too proud to even go, to teach the children, to guide the house. Just put that aside. He's made it so hard in this society to make a living that both the man and the woman has to work for unseemly, amount of hours, basically slave labor, hours, working for what, nearly the whole day, toiling nearly the whole day, and not even have time to enjoy the children that the Most High gave them, the blessing of the fruits of the womb that the Most High gave them. And then now we come back to the fact that he has lifted up the woman so high that she is too proud to be a woman, basically. Then the woman now thinks that she's, basically, Esau basically turned it with his feminism. Another one of his left-hand wickedness, another one of his fake sciences. Basically, that the woman is too proud to be a woman. That being a woman, as a woman, you shouldn't want to be a woman. You should want to be a man. You should want to be more masculine. You should strive to be just like men because you can be just like men. And that's what Esau teaches, even though everything goes against that. Like Apostle Paul said, "Doth not nature tell you?" I know he was talking about something else, talking about hair, but in this case, it's the same thing. Doesn't nature teach you that, that you should be able to, just from observation, know differences between a man and a woman before we even go into the scriptures and how the Most High has basically already ordained it, that woman, you are below the man, but Esau has made these people drunk with the wine of his fornication. They have deceived them completely. And all that just proves is that they were not of the elect. They were of the two-third. So let me close out with this precept right here in the book of the book of the prophet Isaiah chapter 10. And it reads from verse 1. Isaiah chapter 10 verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the rights from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they rob the fatherless. Once again, Esau Edom. So with that, through the Spirit, I hope you brothers were edified. That let's give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah, Kwadash, Shalawam.